Good morning, everyone, and happy Saturday. My name is Callie, and this is another weekend of clarinets, cats, and coffee. The excerpt that I just played for you is a beautiful clarinet solo from Berlioz's Symphonie Fantastique. So I hope you guys will check it out. I love that piece of music, and I love playing that solo so much. So today's topic of conversation is about throat tension. So I'm going to give you a few things that you can look for to kind of figure out if some of your issues are related to throat tension. And I'll also give you a few things you can practice to help you overcome any throat tension that you may be experiencing. Before we jump into that, I want to thank my patrons and channel members for going the extra mile to support me and my channel. I really greatly appreciate that the past 4 years. I hope to see more of you guys there. Thank you all so much. Okay, so first tips on throat tension. So one of the biggest ways you can tell if you are suffering from throat tension is if you feel like you are holding back your air. So if you tried to play the solo that I just played and you feel like you have to hold back your air, choke things back, or constrict anything to play at your different dynamic levels, or even to just push the sound out, you may be experiencing throat tension. So I'll get into how to fix that in a moment. The second big thing that you may hear in your sound is a lack of resonance and difficulty in projecting your sound. The third big thing is that soft dynamics tend to either be fuzzy or lack purity of tone or have trouble actually producing a consistent tone. The next one is you sometimes can feel the tension in your throat controlling the air coming out instead of using your core. So a few tips. I already gave you a hint on one way to overcome throat tension, but the last thing is when you're done practicing, you may feel like your upper chest, your shoulders, your neck, your back might be feeling a little bit tense or sore. So if you feel like you're playing like this a lot, that's related to chest tension, but also throat tension as well. So here are a few tips that you can implement into your practice routine to help you overcome throat tension. First of all, if you feel like you're holding back your air, you may actually just need a little bit more resistance to blow against. So I would recommend starting out by just trying a harder reed. So it doesn't have to be an entire half a strength or a whole strength harder than what you're playing on. You could simply need to try a different reed in the box. If you use cane reeds, you know there's always one or two that's like really soft and you barely need any air to play, and there's always one or two that are outrageously hard and like you can barely get a sound and you need to adjust them a lot. And then there are a bunch in the middle. So try to choose one of the harder ones in the box if you've tried them out to see if that gives you a little more resistance. Now, if you feel like you're still holding back your air to try to play your instrument because full air support would make the reed squeak or buzz, then you know you do need more resistance by going up a half a strength or a whole strength. One thing you can do to test whether or not you are using the correct reed strength is to practice playing with high tongue position and whooshing your air. So I suggest going shh into your instrument. So take a nice big breath, a nice deep belly breath. And really blow against the resistance of that you're creating in your mouth with your tongue position. Shh. And try doing that into your instrument and make sure you're feeling that core support as you're blowing. Whoa, this reed just dried out, but you get the picture, okay? So give that a try. The second thing you can do to help overcome throat tension is to breathe deeply from your belly. And you probably hear people saying belly breaths a lot. I haven't said this in a while, but I'm going to say it now. And those of you who are regulars, you could probably recite this with me. Imagine saying the word home in reverse. Man, and that just really fills everything up from the bottom up, okay? And that's what we want to do. We want to be filling up the lungs from the bottom up. Never would I have thought that what you're doing here affects what's happening up here. One weird trick that I will do when I'm practicing, and I don't know if this will come out right. Hopefully you guys understand. Hopefully I can explain it right. Sometimes I will, if I notice I'm getting a little tense or something and I'm not sure what's happening, I'll choose a note in the phrase or a particular beat in a measure for the entire duration of the passage, and I'll hold that note out like it's a long tone just to see and to try to be aware of what's happening in my body and my breath and my throat. So for example, this solo, this first statement, I'm gonna hold the first note of every measure longer than I think I need to, just so I can be a little bit more aware of what's happening. And so on. And so you may not have heard it, but I could feel it when I got to that first C. I held it a bit longer than I needed to because I wanted to make sure I could feel what was happening up here and really relax and open up. So sometimes doing little practice games like that can help bring attention and awareness to that part of your body. Lastly, and this is something that I've started to implement in my teaching a bit more, as well as you may have heard me say this in a few recent YouTube videos, but that is to keep your air always moving. And I think in our effort to try to make longer phrases, we think we have to hold our breath, but that doesn't really make sense. We have to blow to get the air to reach the reed, to vibrate, okay? So there's this cognitive dissonance between blowing but also holding a phrase. In fact, I'd like to throw the word hold out the window because it just does weird things to our head. So keep the air moving. When you take your breath in, once you get to the top, you gotta let it out, okay? Don't hold it back. Okay, and so I think a lot of us, it will require a bit of a change of habit, okay? Getting out of that habit of holding your throat, right? If somebody says, hold your breath, immediately we take a big breath and we hold it in our throat, okay? So we never, ever, ever want our throat to be closed, even in the breathing process. At least this is how I prefer to play. And so on, okay? So remember, the most important thing is to keep the air moving. We don't want the throat to be constricted. Whenever we're trying to blow, we want the air support to come from down here. And this is going to be a lot of hard work for some of you if you're used to controlling your air up here. So be patient with yourself. Choose long tones over fast passages. Choose slower music so you can build up that endurance to really keep your air moving. Thank you all so much for watching. As a side note, I would love if those of you out there who are seasoned players, if you guys have tips and tricks of your own for dealing with throat tension, please leave them in the comments below. I love learning from you guys, and I know that there are a lot of people watching these videos that can learn from you as well. So thank you all for your help and your expertise, and also thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend, a good week next week, and as always, happy practicing.